Joining me right now, former trade and manufacturing policy assistant to President Trump, Peter Navarro. Peter, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks for being here.
How are you, Maria?
So what do you say about all of this inflation pressure that we are talking about? Lumber up, as I mentioned earlier, really about 80% year to date, 300% over the last year. Do you see inflation?
Yeah, of course there's inflation, but the bigger problem here, and right now I'm definitely not bullish on the markets in cash. I do believe before the year is out that there'll be a correction in the market. I think the shorting the long bond might be the play of over the next year because of that inflation. And here's the thing, Maria, if you look back at Obama-Biden years, the 8 years there, we had a fully functioning economy that could only hit 2% growth barely with stagnant wages. When Donald Trump came along for 4 years, what we were able to do is raise that to 3%, and we were able to get wages up because of four things: deregulation, tax cuts, cheap energy, fair trade, and throw in a little bit of big defense spending. Okay, so what do we have now? We don't have a normal functioning economy like we did in either Obama, Biden, or Trump. What we have is a very wounded economy right now, economy in structural distress, where because of the pandemic, many of our major cities, I mean, here in Washington, D.C., this place is still a ghost town for all practical purposes. So what we have this weird kind of structural unemployment where there's a lot of people who can't get a job, or they're staying home because they're getting a big unemployment check. At the same time, we've got an economy trying to recover, so that's putting pressure on the labor market. And in the meantime, global supply chains are disrupted. I mean, you can't have a pandemic crisis in India where people are dying left and right and not expect the supply chains there spreading out around the world. So bottom line is, this is not, and most important point, burying the lead, Maria, this is not an economy you can fix with trillions of dollars of additional Keynesian stimulus. I mean, Obama and Biden made that mistake after the crash of 08, and all we did was double our debt, and all we got was like slow growth. What we need here is the Trump plan, getting manufacturing going, things like that. So, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm definitely bearish on this economy.
Peter, I want to ask you about the other threat to global growth, and it's something that Nancy Lazar raised. We had her on the show earlier. She's out with a report, Beijing's heavy hand pressuring U.S. multinationals, not just Chinese companies. She wrote a report on China saying, look, don't think that Beijing is only going to be pressuring companies like the Ant Group, which it's all over, trying to really control this company, turn it into, as it tries to transition to a financial services company. But Beijing's heavy-handedness is throughout sectors and also impacting multinational companies. Her conclusion is this: Beijing's increasingly heavy hand in 2021 risks hampering the otherwise healthy Chinese economy, further disadvantaging U.S. companies selling there, changing global growth dynamics. Your thoughts on Beijing's heavy-handedness and its impact on the broader global economy, Peter?
That's a great question. It's a long lead question. What we know about the Chinese Communist Party is they have a long-term strategy basically to assimilate the technology of American companies and then cast them out of their markets. And we are in the process of that. And we're seeing that progress happening more or less depending on what sectors it is. But any American-based multinational company or European-based multinational company who thinks they have a long future in China is sadly mistaken. So it's just a matter of time. And when you have a command and control economy, state capitalism like communist China, they will make mistakes. They might push us out too soon for them, and therefore you'll see the kind of disruptions that Lazier's worried about. It would be nice if some of these firms, like Lazier, did some analysis and acknowledged what the grand Beijing strategy is, which is to basically have an all-China industrial base that serves the world. That's the game plan.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like
There's
this continual dream that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Nancy Lazar is writing about, that it's largely about China, which, of course, we've made that point many times.